Facts about Van Helsing. Van Helsing is the most famous vampire hunter out there, but the Syfy show and Hugh Jackman's movie have a lot of differences. The story of Van Helsing has been told for years, the famous supernatural monster hunter often portrayed in television and films. The first time the world was introduced to the character was in 1897 gothic horror novel Dracula. His name was Professor Abraham Van Helsing. Over the years, the story of Van Helsing has been adopted and changed to attract an audience on screen. Hugh Jackman portrayed Van Helsing in 2004 film Van Helsing. The film has been the most popular when it comes to creating an on-screen version of his adventures. Now it has a contender. Syfy's show Van Helsing takes the tale and takes it up a notch and is keeping fans on their toes. Here's how the show is different from the beloved film. Number 10. Van Helsing is a woman. Van Helsing was originally meant to be a man, more specifically, a doctor who has peculiar interests. For the film, the creator decided to keep the theme going and kept Van Helsing a male hunter. In the Syfy show, Van Helsing, a male lead, was thrown out the window. Actor Kelly Overton plays the lead of Vanessa Van Helsing. Vanessa has no idea of her lineage when the show begins, much less about the existence of vampires. Unlike the film, she has no formal training on how to eradicate bloodsuckers. Throughout the show, you will learn more about her family. She's not the only female hunter in her family tree. Number 9. Vanessa Van Helsing is a mother. An aspect of Van Helsing, the show, that is vastly different from the film is that Vanessa has a daughter. It's no secret in the show and is the main motivator for Vanessa to go out into a vampire-invested world. 3 years have passed since Vanessa went to a deep sleep and wakes up unaware of where her daughter Dylan is. All Vanessa can remember are the events prior to her sleep. It's assumed that it was unlikely that Dylan could have survived on her own. A mother's love is superior, and Vanessa does anything in her power to find Dylan. Number 8. No fancy weaponry. In the film version, what made the plot fun to watch was all the gadgets and weaponry Van Helsing had access to. He uses a range of weapons from silver stakes, silver crucifix, and custom-made crossbows, all of which are meant to eliminate supernatural creatures. At some point in the film, he uses the famous ingredient of holy water. Van Helsing even uses a special bomb that fabricates UV light. Vanessa Van Helsing, on the other hand, has no fancy gadgets. She's old-fashioned and prefers a trusty gun and blade. Later on in the show, she will carry a longer blade, once owned by one of her ancestors. If all else fails, she has no problem using her hands to take down vampires. Number 7. USA versus Europe. One of the main differences between the film and television series is the setting location. For the film, it takes place traveling through different countries within Europe. Audiences first see Van Helsing tracking down Mr. Hyde in Paris. He later returns to the Vatican to receive his next mission. Van Helsing travels to Transylvania, where he meets Anna Valerius. Viewers are aware what a majority of the show takes place to the west of the United States. It's explained the volcanic eruption of the Yellowstone caldera creates a continuous cover of ash in the sky, effectively blocking the sun. Vanessa and her crew venture to a safe haven in Denver, Colorado. Number 6. Vanessa Van Helsing has a sibling. Slight spoiler warning ahead. Compared to the film, Vanessa Van Helsing isn't a lone fighter. Besides the group of survivors from the hospital where she slept, Vanessa comes to find out she has a sister. In Season 2, Vanessa meets Scarlett. Unlike Vanessa, Scarlett was aware from a young age about vampires and was trained to kill them. Unlike the show, Van Helsing in the film has no real family that he is aware of. He suffers from amnesia of his past and is told to kill evil for the Vatican. As far as audiences are aware, Van Helsing is on his own and has no lineage to fall back on or continue into the future. Number 5. Vanessa Van Helsing only kills vampires. While the film and television show is based around eradicating vampires, the show strictly deals only with vampires. In the show, The story only focuses on vampires taking over after the volcanic eruption. 3 seasons into the show, Vanessa is still killing vampires left and right. Currently, there is no clear indicator that any other supernatural beings will be introduced into the show. In the film, he deals with a number of supernatural creatures. Van Helsing is seen fighting off Dr. Hyde and werewolves. His main priority is defeating Dracula and his 3 brides for good. Number 4. Vanessa Van Helsing isn't fully human. It becomes clear that Vanessa is important in the now vampire apocalypse. While fighting off a vampire in her apartment, she gets bit, but the vampire reverts back to a human. It is also later discovered that Vanessa's rapid healing abilities making her impervious to vampires. Viewers find out exactly why Vanessa is immune to a vampire bite and why her blood is an antidote to vampirism. Van Helsing in the film has no real special abilities. He bleeds like any other human and falls to the risk of dying if fatally wounded. In a fight, it's more likely that Vanessa will win against Hugh Jackman's Van Helsing. Number 3. Van Helsing is part of the Vatican. The film version takes a more traditional route when it comes to the story of Van Helsing. He suffers from immense amnesia and is not able to recall his past life. Instead, he works for the Vatican. The Vatican has an organization dedicated to eradicating supernatural creatures under the suspicion that humankind remains partially unaware of their existence. Van Helsing is their prized fighter. Vanessa isn't part of any real organization when she wakes up from her deep sleep or prior. Later on, audiences discover Vanessa's mother was part of a secret organization called Black Tech. Black Tech is a group of scientists dedicated to the experimentation of vampires. Vanessa and her sister Scarlett play a vital role in their plan. Number 2. No Dracula and Van Helsing the show. The number 1 vampire known in every supernatural storyline is the acclaimed Dracula, the original bloodsucker that everyone fears. In the film, Van Helsing is told by the Vatican to hunt and kill Dracula and his brides. At the center of all vampires is their leader. In various films and television adaptations, Dracula is the oldest known vampire and the most powerful. Vanessa Van Helsing never encounters Dracula in the 3 seasons. She mostly focuses on killing vampires in her path while hunting down elders who threaten humankind. In 2019, at Comic-Con, a trailer for Season 4 of Van Helsing teased the introduction of Dracula. Number 1. The Vampire Apocalypse. While Van Helsing in the film travels through Europe in the late 1880s, Vanessa wakes up to an apocalypse. With the eruption of Yellowstone caldera, vampires emerged from the shadows. Ash covered the skies, blocking out the sun that was harmful to vampires. In the 3 years that Vanessa was asleep, vampires took over mankind, hunting them and using them for their blood. It becomes everyone's worst unimaginable nightmare. It's up to Vanessa to use her unique abilities to drive vampires back where they belong. Van Helsing in the film doesn't have to worry about any of that.